Hey, my friends, before we get into the devotional by Joel Parker, just want to greet you with a happy MLK Day and say to you that we celebrate this day because someone who lived before us, MLK Jr., a believer, a preacher of the gospel, who believed in what he called the beloved community, that's you and me, that we were equal, though we were different, and that he was championing the voting rights of our black brothers and sisters, and he did it non-violently. And what a great example for all of us. So celebrate the day, enjoy it, and thank God that there's people like this who have lived. And what has God called you to do that might be remembered in days to come? God bless you.
Well, good morning, everybody. Time for Daily Hope. And this morning we find ourselves in Psalm 42 and Psalm 43. Such a good one. And the psalmist says here, "As the deer pants for the water, so my soul pants for you, O God. My soul thirsts for God, for the one true living God." Now, let me ask you this. Have you ever been to a place of dehydration? Now, I know we all have in one degree or another, but I distinctly remember being a little kid, being at baseball practice, having forgot my water bottle, no water fountain. I don't know what the deal was, but I had no way to get water, and it was just nagging at me. And I remember the drive home from the ball field after practice back to my house, maybe 5-minute drive, felt like an eternity. All I could think about was getting my mouth under the faucet, turning that thing on, and just getting as much water in me as possible. It was so uncomfortable. It was so terrible. I didn't want any milk. I didn't want any caffeine, no Coca-Cola, no Gatorade. I just wanted water, the pure water. And this is where the psalmist is at. He's declaring, he's like, as that deer pants for water, so my soul longs for God in this moment. Now, why, you might be asking? Well, verse 3 sheds some light on it. It continues, says, my tears have been my food day and night. So he's in a rough place. The psalmist here, has much reason to be crying out to God in this way. We know that he's exiled right now from his home and from his place of worship. And so maybe you can relate to that. It's been a very unfortunate season this last 9-10 months for the church. We all know that. It's been miserable not being able to worship side by side in our sanctuary, packed full of people praising God. And secondly, verse 3, it says, and you say, while they were saying to me, where is your God? So he's got friends who are chirping right now too, saying, where's your God? You're going through this horrible season. Where is he? So have you ever had friends really doubt your relationship with God, the reality of God as you were going through a tough season? Well, this is where the psalmist is at. And thirdly, he's remembering better days. Sometimes thinking back can be a pretty miserable thing. Think of how good you once had it. And now when those tough days are here, you don't have it. That memory can be a tough thing. Verse 4, for these things I remember and I pour out my soul within me. This is some very strong language being sung here by the psalmist. And he says in verse 7, it continues, it says, deep calls out to deep, the sound of your waterfalls. All your breakers and your waves have rolled over me. What a deep cry of the soul this is. Have you ever been pinned down by big waves at the bottom of the ocean? It's a desperate feeling. This is where the psalmist is at. And lastly, in verse 9, he says, I will say to my God and my rock, why have you forgotten me? Why do I mourn because of the oppression of my enemies? So there's a frustration there. There's a longing to have his problems solved. And he's asking God, why aren't you intervening? Why are you being slow here? You see, but the cool thing here that I think that you and I can learn from this passage is that he doesn't allow this to deaden his passion to be in the presence of God. No, it actually makes it more intense. He's saying, as a deer pants for the water, I long to be nurtured and satisfied and in that intimate place with Jesus during this time. I need it. I don't need anything else. All I need is that presence with Jesus. And he goes on and Psalm 43 verse 3 says, oh, send out your light and your truth. Let them lead me. Let them bring me to your holy hill and to your dwelling places. Then I will go on to the altar of God, to God my exceeding joy. Why are you in despair, O my soul, and why are you disturbed within me? he closes with this: hope in God, for I shall again praise him, the hope of my countenance and my God. And so I think the takeaway is this: in times of frustration, in times of sorrow, mourning, whatever it is that you're going through today, I think we sometimes try to solve that spiritual dehydration with anything other than just the pure intimacy of Jesus. And so that invitation this morning is simply that. It's like, how do we find time today, this very moment? Don't procrastinate. Don't fill yourself with anything other than just the pure water, living water that Jesus offers. So in closing, I hope you find that today. I hope you find that stream of living water, find that rest, find that intimacy with Jesus, and allow your sorrows to merely be placed in that river and let them drift on downstream. So God bless you guys. Hope you have a great day.